Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Wes.
And I am your co-host, Russ.
That was too much.
No, it wasn't.
That was too hard.
It ain't too much. That was hard, and they love it.
And it was long.
And they love you, and they love me,
and they love us,
Rob, and they don't care.
This is this week's installment of Teep Talk After Dark. We're not doing a UFC episode this week because obviously there's no UFC this weekend.
Nope.
What will I ever do this Saturday? Me having absolutely no life. I'm not married. I'm a single man living alone by myself, while Russell here has plans doing other stuff.
And the announcement is
because he's gonna have a woman. I'm gonna go and have a happy life with a white picket fence and a dog.
it'd be kind of not bad, actually.
I want to give up all my freedom.
Problem is with this fucking shithead is he keeps thinking that I'm gonna
Don't be cursing.
It's after dark.
I know.
He's so
the
used.
algorithm and
You're
my
an
grandmother
algorithm.
don't like the F word.
Anyway, the thing is, he thinks my woman's gonna tell me what to do, and I'm gonna listen to her all the time. That's just not the way it is. I've proven
Eventually.
it. I've proven it. I've proven
Eventually.
it. Time and time
Eventually.
and time and time again.
I know.
And
but
she,
you're not
by the
married
way,
yet.
not gonna mention her, but she has proven time and time and time again. And guess what's gonna happen, folks? You're gonna get proven wrong again, and it's gonna be glorious. Yes, I am officially engaged.
For the record, ladies and gentlemen, I tried my best to talk him out of it.
No, he didn't.
Yes, I did.
No.
I have told him that marriage is a bad idea.
That's because he was engaged and to a stripper.
I don't want to talk about it.
That's why.
I don't want to
That's
talk
why
about
he thinks
it.
marriage
I
is
don't want
bad.
to talk about it.
That's why he thinks marriage is bad.
No, that's
'Cause he
not-
had a bad
that's-
experience.
That's not.
He had a bad experience.
No,
Yeah, he did.
I did have a bad experience.
He doesn't have relationship
When
experience.
a woman looks at me and says, "Who hurt you?" my response is always, "You're kind."
Yep. But he also could be putting it on himself.
Mhm.
Oh, the ring finger and the pinky finger up.
Oh yeah. I have a coaster. I'd like to show everyone my coaster. My brother does 3D printing. He 3D printed me. No, he does do 3D printing. He like the etch thing. Printed me this fancy coaster.
Nice.
I put it in my office. But anyways, yeah, marriage is grand. Divorce is 50 grand.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna explain something real quick because he does nothing about relationship, marriage shit. I do. The thing is,
But you've been married once.
yeah.
How'd that work out?
It didn't work out good
Yeah. Why would you do it again?
because I chose the right woman.
Hey, okay.
He doesn't
if
know
you-
anything about the right person.
It's
That's
like
the
if
problem.
you was to have a pit bull. Let's say you have a pit bull. Okay.
Okay, but no, you can't
No,
go
let
off
me
of
get-
that.
no,
Fuck,
yes, I can.
screw your pit bull.
Let me get,
You learned your lesson not
let-
to date another stripper.
let me get
That's
my-
different.
let me get my analogy out.
Here we go.
Let's say you own a pit bull.
Okay, I own a pit bull.
Name it
Pity.
Spike.
His name's
Some
Spike.
kind of cool
Is he a
pit
puppy?
bull.
First.
Sure, but he gets older. You walk in the kitchen. Say, "Hey Spike, how you doing?" Okay. And he just like jumps up and bites your leg and just tears a chunk off. And it's over. Yeah, pit bulls do. And then you got to say, "I got to get rid of this dog." And I look at you and say, "You know what? We should get you another pit bull." What would you do?
For one, would I get me another pit bull?
Yeah.
I don't know. Depends.
Why not? Well, I mean,
Either
you're
I'd get-
missing a chunk of your leg
Either I'd get a
from the
new.
first one.
Yeah, but just because the first one was bad doesn't mean the new one was going to be bad.
Why would you do it twice?
This guy is trying to use dog analogy to explain this to me. Oh, here, my pit bull I've had for 10 years finally bites me. After 10 years, it finally bites me. And it's like, you know what? I do got to get rid of this dog. Maybe I should just get a new breed.
You know
Maybe
what
I should get a
Don Fry-
Rottweiler now.
You know what Don Fry says about marriage?
I'm not done fried.
He said it best. When he said it like this, what he said? He said, "Yeah, you got a good thing going. You got the milk one on the cow. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get married, she's going to start yelling at you. She's going to gain weight. Then you're going to get divorced, and she's going to take all your money. But it happens to the best of us." Yeah.
Yeah,
Like an old dumb fry video.
That's one guy.
No.
Here's the thing.
No,
here's the problem. Here's the problem with him. The problem is he doesn't believe in true love.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No, because if you did, you wouldn't say this about me.
I love you, Russ.
Yeah, but has she not proven herself?
Oh, yeah. Now, for the record.
Put it on the record.
I think that
Don't say her name.
Russell is making a good choice with the woman he's being with. And of all the people in the world, she's one of the good ones. However,
she'll probably watch this and be careful with
in general, being married in today's society is a horrible idea. For the most part.
Why? For what reasons? Can you name?
Name a good one. How many?
No, why are you pointing at me? Name your reasons, Wes. Why can't you name any? What is the reasons why I can't marry today with her? Go.
Oh, with her?
With my lady.
Oh, I was just joking about everything. Yeah, I mean, you should marry her. Yeah. But I'm saying...
Are you talking about in general?
In general, marriage is a bad idea.
Of course. A bunch of them, and they take your money from you.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
70% of the statistics is the cause of divorce is because the woman says, I don't want to be together. Now, there's various reasons of why. And there's 90%. I think it said something about college.
52% of marriages end in divorce, and 22% of marriages are unhappy marriages. So that leaves you with
Women initiate nearly 70% of divorces.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We never went over a topic we're supposed to be talking about on here.
We don't care.
How do we get on there?
That's the point of the flow.
Oh,
we talk about anything.
Okay.
This is Teep Talk After Dark.
After dark.
That's right. We talk about anything. Bring on any news you want.
Now, to get on to some UFC stuff, to branch off from this marriage talk, which is a bad idea. No, talk about marriage. If you're going to get married, if you're watching this, I'm a book guy, okay? I'm a book guy. I like to read books. And one book that is very important for somebody who is going through a breakup or needs to arm themselves with knowledge to get married is The Rational Male by Rollo Tomassi. Rollo Tomassi is an author. He's written quite a few books. He also has a podcast and stuff. I'm a huge fan of him. He's very intelligent, high IQ dude. Look him up if you gonna get married. Also, another good book's The Book of the Five Rings. Teaches you how to sword fight. But anyways, what I was saying, branching off from the marriage debate, I don't need the feminists coming after me for my views on marriage. How dare you tell people not to marry us so we can take all these dudes' money? Did you hear about what happened in Thailand?
With what?
With Jake Shields.
No.
Okay. Jake Shields posted about it. So they're doing an Ultimate Fighter in Thailand, and it's like a Russian-styled Ultimate Fighter. And who's the guy? Flipped the camera off. He beat Conor McGregor. The name is
Nate
Diaz. Nate Diaz is one of the coaches, and another one of the coaches is John Jones. Why is John Jones coaching? Because he's got to find something to do so that he can say he's busy and he can't fight Tom Aspinall.
He coached the Ultimate Fighter before.
Yeah.
Against JL Sonnen.
Yeah. So Now, this is a Russian though. It's like a Russian Ultimate Fighter. It's not. It's not the Ultimate Fighter. It's like
Yeah, it's
a
UFC Russian or something.
yeah, something like that. So apparently they get to this house, and these Chechens and the Dagestanis, I guess like they're all there,
Hmm.
and they don't like each other or something. I don't know how. I don't know the context of everything how it works, but apparently they all get in a fight. Like people were just beating the hell out of each other, right? And there's like 20 dudes. Everybody's fighting and stuff. So John Jones and Nate Diaz and who was Jake Shields, because Jake Shields flew in with Nate Diaz because he was like, hey, I don't want to let him go over by himself, you know, because he's Nate Diaz, he's lunatic. And but they were like, hey, we're leaving, so they just left the house. So for the past few days or something, they just been roaming around Thailand, staying in hotels and stuff. And the network people were like, hey, you gotta come back. He's like, no, we ain't coming back to that. Because like people were attacking him and stuff just for like no reason. You know, Nate Diaz slapped Khabib one time. Yeah. Khabib did something to piss him off, and they was at a.
Oh, Nate don't care.
Yeah, he just.
Nate and Nick don't care.
Yeah. I think that, which I love Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz, but I think they assholes just to be assholes.
I don't know.
You think so?
I don't know. We're probably nice guys.
Probably, yeah.
They just don't.
Yeah.
That's just the way they act. That's just how they are.
Yeah. So who you think, 20 Dagestanis or one John Jones? Well, 20 Dagestani Ultimate Fighter contenders or John Jones, Nate Diaz, and Jake Shields. Who wins? None of them have been trained by Khabib in this situation.
John Jones.
Think so? So that's
probably.
They beat all of them? Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it. Yeah.
Have you ever listened to Jake Shields' podcast?
Nope. Not yet.
You know what it's about?
No.
I first run across Jake Shields on a post on Twitter about the Jews. Pretty much.
Yeah, he did tell me that.
Yeah. Like, and he goes deep into everything. Like his whole podcast is just people that don't get platformed anywhere. Talking about stuff. It's like, so he's got YouTube. He posts most of his stuff on Rumble and stuff. Because eventually YouTube for him is going to leave. They're going to catch on and be like, hey, people saying too much. But I love the Jake Shields. You know what? He messaged me on Instagram. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Posted, so every Friday, well, you know, Friday, Saturday, Saturday morning, something like that. Maybe Thursday, I'll post the things like almost fight night on the page, and it's all these old classic UFC pictures and stuff. It's just, I don't know, it just looks cool. It's something to get whatever out there. But I had one of them. It was Jake Shields with the little with the beaming eyes, you know, like the laser eyes or whatever. I sent it to him. But yeah.
I have.
I was waiting on you to say something.
I have a Jake Shields fight on DVD.
Do you really?
Yep. You know who he went up against?
George St. Pierre.
That's right.
Is that the one it was?
Yep. George St. Pierre beat him.
Why do you have it on DVD?
Because why wouldn't I?
Imagine how big Jake Shields would have been if he'd beat George St. Pierre, though.
Oh, yeah. Jake Shields is a great fighter. I mean, I think he's a Strike Force fighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Strike Force. There was Strike Force back then, and there was like King of the Cage, right?
But no one can compete against George. GSP.
I think if George in his prime came to the UFC today, he'd get beat.
I don't know.
I don't.
He moved up in his last fight. He moved up in middleweight and fought Michael Bisping.
You win?
Yep. Won the middleweight title for a day, and then he left. Yep.
Who did he lose to, though?
What do you mean? He never lost. Well, he's lost. Well, he's lost.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Who's lost in the past?
Yeah.
He's lost to Matt Hughes, Matt Serra.
Yeah, so he's not yet undefeated.
No, but he's fucking good.
Matt Hughes. I seen a video the other day. Who was the guy that Frank Mir?
Heavyweight guy.
Heavyweight guy. I remember when I was a kid, when I was first started watching like UFC and stuff like that, or like when I first got into it a little bit, I had the video game, UFC Fight Night or something like that, or like UFC Undisputed. I can't remember what it was, but it had Frank Mir on the cover. Do you remember that one?
I don't remember.
I want to say it was Frank Mir. Look it up. Look up Frank Mir, UFC cover, because I know he was on the cover. Check out this. Check out this Lego man. I've had this in the package for the past, probably what?
I know Brock Lesnar was
3
on
years.
one.
It's an exclusive HRT Tactical Lego man patch. And I've had this for such a long time, I keep it sitting on my desk. I've never seen another one like it. And they sent it to me with a pouch that came on attached to a plate carrier. It's a very rare item.
Do not
Nobody
see
ever
a
has.
Frank Mir cover.
I might have dreamed it then.
Forrest Griffin was on the cover.
That's who it was.
It was on
Yeah, that's who
2009.
it was. That's who it was. 2009, Forrest Griffin. It wasn't Frank Mir.
And then Brock Lesnar 2010.
But anyways, Frank Mir did like a boxing thing a few years ago and got just obliterated. He's old though. He's like in his 40s.
Hey, he trained with Brian Shaw a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Look up Brian Shaw and Frank Mir later.
Who did Frank Mir fight Brock Lesnar?
Twice.
Who won?
Frank won the first one, and then Brock won the second one.
Ooh. Yeah.
They should fight a third time.
Yes. I think
Have Brock come back to the UFC and have Frank come back so they can settle the tiebreaker.
I think that the UFC should make a division where it's what's it called? You know, arm wrestling, it's the old people. What is that?
Masters. Grandmasters.
UFC Masters division. You know, and they should bring old people and they should let them do steroids. Yeah. Brock Lesnar, shoot up some juice. You know, Frank Mir, shoot him up with some juice. Put them in there, just for old time's sake, you know.
Yeah, and hopefully it's legit.
Yeah,
not fake.
Yep. Who else would be good? GSP, juice him up. Put him in there with
Anderson Silva.
Yep, Silva.
Them two are supposed to.
Put them on the juice. I'm talking D-ball, test, andropiloquine. You know what andropiloquine is? It's something I just made up, but it would be a good steroid if it was real. Some andropiloquine. Yeah. And let's see. Could you imagine if Alex Pereira was juicing? They were all juicing back in the day.
I guess. I don't know. They had they were really. They would always talk about the drug stuff back then. If you recall it afterwards, they would consider the fight no contest.
Yeah, but
I don't think GSP was.
No, I think
GSP doesn't look like he takes steroids.
Does he not?
No.
No, back in the day.
No.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. Because I think they had a thing. I
think the Dagestanis might. They're all way in another country. USADA would have to travel all the way there to make them drug tests.
So that's what GSP look like. Dude ain't juicing.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Like, here's how they get away with it, though. So let's say, like 11 months out of the year, you're living in a different country, right? And they don't travel down there to give you tests and stuff most of the time, right?
Mm.
So now you don't get tested before a fight, right? So what they do is they'll just be on the juice all year long. Just because you get off of the juice doesn't mean that it wears off. You know, like I mean, yeah, if you get off of it and you don't like post cycle or something, but like you still got that muscle there. You still got stamina that's built up and this that and the other. Well, they get off of it just in time to be tested and get the fight done, so they get back on it. That's what people do. Well, that's what I would do. If I'm going up against these high level people like that, taking chances like, busting my brain up, yeah. Yep. I'd do it. Devin Larratt, he juices. Biggest juicer out there.
I'm sure there's a lot more.
You can't tell me he ain't juicing. Has he ever came out and said it?
I don't know. I think there was a video somewhere where they talked about steroids to everybody, but
yeah. I think the only thing I've heard him say is like, you can't be at the high level and not be juicing. Yeah. You gotta be. You gotta be.
Use a lot of bath salts.
What?
You know that sniffing shit?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Bath salts?
Is that what it's called?
Smelling
salts.
Okay, I was about to say bath
like
salts.
Smelling salts, right?
That's
Like
drug
they,
addicts do. Yeah.
you just see them at competition. Michael Todd.
Yeah.
He's sitting there every time before he goes up. He goes.
I'm surprised you don't see people doing that in the UFC. The boxing matches.
I guess they
cornerman walk up and just shove it in your nose.
Well, here you
go. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I remember one time I used to work at a jail. So I came in with some bath salts. They took bath salts and stuff like that, or like made them. They was all twack out of their head and whatnot. We had to put them in a restraint chair. It was crazy. Yeah, I remember when that started being a thing.
Yeah.
Is there no news?
I don't know if we have any. There's weather news.
Weather?
I don't know. It rained a couple of days ago.
And there was tornadoes.
There were.
Yep.
Good old
Naders.
Good old Naders.
So this guy, he's from a whole different state. He's from Maryland. Right?
Mm.
And we shoot this from an underground bunker somewhere in the hills of Tennessee.
Oh, gosh.
But no. So he calls me once. I called him one time. I said, "What you doing?" He said, "Oh, sitting in a parking garage."
Yeah.
In a parking garage? Yeah. Wow. What you going at? What are you doing at this hour in a parking garage? There's a tornado. Won't be safe from the tornado.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You should have seen the amount of people that were in there, too.
That is insane. I bet not one of them was from here.
All of them were.
No.
The sky was green, bro.
I don't care if the sky's purple.
If the sky's green, it means usually it's tornado around.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It'd take me.
Let it take him. It ain't taking me.
I have never once in my life said, yeah, I'm going to go hide from a tornado.
He can go kill himself all he wants, but I am a safe guy. So.
And that's why I sleep naked.
Yep. So he can get
because if something happens and a nader pulls me up out of my house,
he can pancake on somebody.
Yeah, I want somebody to look up and see me naked flying through the air.
Hey, who's that?
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, is that a bird? Is that a plane? No, that's the Teep talk guy West.
Yeah.
Beating his meat while he's in an nader.
Is that the moon? No, that's Wesley's ass.
Yeah.
It's big. I can see it from down here.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to figure out how to do reactionary videos.
Yeah, we're going to be doing that soon.
And after this, we might actually pop open the laptop. We shoot this from a phone because it's way easier. But if we could pop open the laptop and figure out how to get a reactionary videos, we can react to some stuff. I always wanted to do that. It's the easiest thing to make videos on. People watch it though.
Well, I know some people that know how to do it.
Who?
Alan and his brother,
Oh, yeah.
they did it.
They did do that.
I could just ask.
I bet he knows all about that.
I could just ask his brother and be like, "Hey, man, how did you do this?" And then maybe he can help me out. Never know.
What else is on the agenda today? What's going on in the world? Because it's Teep Talk After Dark. This is something that you listen to when you ain't got nothing better to listen to. I really appreciate
Andrew
the five
Tate,
of you.
60 rounds.
Oh,
Andrew
I did see
Tate fought
that.
60 rounds.
63-minute rounds?
No, just 60 rounds. I guess he just fought like different guys.
3 minutes a round, right?
Like, I don't know. That's insane.
When was
And
you?
he came out with like nothing on him.
Yeah.
Everybody else all bloody and everything.
Hey, you gotta think, man. Like,
dude's in his 30s.
So,
and he's just still good, still at it.
Now, okay. Do I think he could go 60 rounds with people that were like super duper good? No.
I don't know how long he can go. I mean, he fought that boxer and he was doing pretty well.
The people in that video, I'm assuming were people from like what, the real world?
Some of them probably did know how to fight. Some probably street fighters. Some of them probably knew how to fight, but they're not the caliber.
Kind of like us or something like low level, like kind of into boxing.
Or like the guys that we train with. I mean, those guys could have been there, and he's just up there.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't think he's going 60 rounds with people of the caliber of the guys we train with. I
don't know.
I think they make him quit at about 40.
He doesn't look like that type of person.
No, I mean he doesn't look like that type of person. He'd have a busted lip.
He doesn't.
He'd have something on him after that. Yeah.
He
goes 60.
His head movement's still good.
Yeah, but I think that's something that's just trained into the brain. I don't think it's just like riding a bike or something probably for him. Which I mean he trains all the time though.
He's all the time.
And I'll tell you one thing about head movement. I ain't good at it.
No.
Tell him how a block punches, rough.
He blocks him with his face.
Yeah.
I do okay. I'm not the best, but I do pretty all right. I mean, against like professionals, like I'm not that good. But I'd say an average man or someone that's kind of learning, I can probably dodge like a little bit. They could probably hit me. I mean, he's hit me a couple times. Yeah. I'd say like 3 times out of like 3 years. But
I've figured out like sparring with him, like he's really good with head movement where I'm not. I have to set it up to where he's gonna move this way. If I punch where I think he's about to be, it's gonna hit. That's every time I've fought you. That's how I've done it.
Yeah, and he can't do it every time, can he?
Now I've told him this secret, and he's gonna know.
Yeah. Who?
You.
Oh yeah, I know now.
Yeah.
I already know.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the time we're gonna start sparring and stuff. Yeah. Like on Wednesdays, like after this.
Yeah, there's probably to be honest with you, like eventually at some point we will have a moment to where you guys can see a spar. I mean, maybe we'll do for like a little video.
Go live.
Yeah. Go live one day. It'll be on these days, literally right after the podcast. Until he gets the equipment and everything, and all that. So
we got this big old light we're gonna get from the Amazon, them big work lights.
Hopefully you can see him. Now you'll get to see him when the timer goes me ready to go. He's unprepared as usual.
I'm always unprepared. Yeah.
So, but you can see. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect. When it comes to skill or technique, but I know a little.
And I'm horrible.
I know a little.
I'm horrible.
Against the guys that we train with, no, I'm terrible.
Yeah. I mean,
grappling though is a little different. I do pretty well with grappling. I'm not too bad with that.
You got that natural skill though.
Yeah, I like watching things and learning it.
Yeah. Plus, a measurement of a good athlete is the thickness of their arms. Do you know that? I'm dead serious. Look at mine. I got little bitty frail, itty bitty ones.
Look at that.
That's why I ain't athletic, because I ain't got big arms.
You see that?
That's what it is.
That's called perfection.
Yeah. I think I want to get another pair of boxing gloves.
He always gets all this like bunch of stuff. Just stick with your gloves, man. What do you need a bunch of pair of gloves for? What do you need like 10 different? Oh, hey, you. When
I was saying
when I spar
to
with,
go into a debate.
So here's the thing: when I spar a bag,
Mhm.
I'm gonna use these gloves. Oh wait, hey, you want to train with me? Hold on a second. I'm putting these gloves on to do this with you. Going at it, and it's like, oh, hey, Russ, you want to spar next? Give me 1 second. Let me put on my third pair. That's what. Hold on just a second. It's going to take a little longer. I even got 10 different wraps. 1 second.
Yeah.
And then, hold on. I'm ready now. Hold on 1 more second. Do you want to do some kickboxing? Give me a second. I got 10 different shin guards in my bag.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hang on. Let me change them again.
Yeah.
No, like the ones I got the Hayabusas. And I think that, which I like Hayabusa. But one thing that I'm noticing, I'm like, I wonder if it'd be better if it didn't have that big wrist pad on it. You know what I mean? The wrist support thing. I wonder what the not wrist support it is.
I guess the UFC ones.
UFC boxing gloves?
Yeah.
It's kind of cringy, man.
Who cares, bro?
Yeah, I don't know.
What is someone gonna say? Oh, you gonna do shin guards? I don't give a shit.
I've already got shin guards.
You know what I'll do? I'll come up in the gym with different pair of brand all over me. Venom boxing gloves, UFC shin guards. Hell, yeah. I'll wear a tap out shirt too.
Tap out needs to make comebacks.
They do.
What needs to happen? Tap out was one of the best brands ever. You knew by looking at somebody in a tap out shirt, whether or not they was a hard ass or not. You know what I mean? If you wore a tap out shirt back in the day, you hated your stepdad, you drank Monster energy drinks, and you listened to Slipknot.
Look at that. They got tap out gloves.
No freaking way.
Look at that. We're already investing in.
My God. Pink ones?
Look, it's got kids. Oh, look. Brings up.
You can get it at Dick's. Dick's Sporting Goods sells tap out stuff.
Now, it might not be in store.
Yeah, it might not be in the store.
But look at that. They even got the gloves and the mitts.
Why ain't tap out cool no more? Did Tap Out used to sponsor the UFC, or did they just sponsor fighters?
I think they sponsored UFC.
Yeah. I thought it wasn't a thing no more. I thought Tap Out was over.
I think it is. It's just not. Yeah, I told you why a long time ago. I just don't remember. But Tap Out made great gear. I had tons of Tap Out shirts.
You know what else was cool back in the day? Affliction. Yeah. I remember going to school with that new Affliction shirt. You know what I mean? You got the new Affliction shirt. We're at school. Oh, the girls gonna look at me and say, "Oh, look at this."
Everybody, anybody that wore a Tap Out shirt when I was growing up was told that it was probably just some guy that's into UFC and fighting, but he's not a fighter. He's just like a wannabe.
Like you always knew, it was just like everybody knew, like, oh yeah, that guy.
But you know what? When I wore it, I loved it. I just loved the gear.
Yeah, I wore it too. I was like,
I think it looks great. You know what?
You know what's funny?
I got a Tap Out shirt.
When I was in high school, got into a fight while wearing a Tap Out shirt. I remember it. Yeah. Remember that time was at the club? We back when we worked at the club, I introduced you to that one guy. I was like, this is like back when I was in high school, like this would be like the only person ever like really like whooped my ass.
Get into a good fight.
Yeah. And he looked at me and said, I was like, I'm dead serious. He goes, him? I was like, yeah. He's like little skinny dude. I swear.
You know what? Bro. And you know what's funny that I thought about this recently, and this is hilarious. He never knew the skill set that I had until like later on.
Oh yeah.
Now I know that if he was a bouncer trying to kick me out, I could beat his ass.
Oh yeah. I could, like he wins in a fight 9 times out of 10.
That means if he would have went up to me and be like, "Hey man, I don't like you. You gotta go," I'm like, "All right, make me go." And as soon as we get to the ground, he'd be sitting there not knowing what to do.
I don't
Get
know,
him in
man.
a triangle, and then he'd be like,
I think
sleep.
back then you didn't have the self confidence in yourself that you do now.
I boxed every day.
No. Back when like
Oh,
we
so
first met each
before
other.
I met you,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I was a little different.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't care for violence.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I did tell myself, though, that if someone hits me
Yeah.
or does something to me, I'm going to defend myself.
Did we tell the story on this show about that time you squared off on them dudes?
That's hard because that's the thing. Now we got to remember what we talked about on here.
I'll never forget it, man. So when he
This New Year's, I know the whole thing if it's New Year's.
No, it wasn't New Year's. It wasn't on New Year's. There might have been, but there was me and him used to work at a club, and I DJ'd, and he was a security. I was security for a very long time before I started DJing. So everything about security, I taught him everything I knew.
This is my first night.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I know everything about it.
And his girlfriend was working the door, the cash register.
Yeah.
Right? Where they take IDs and stuff.
My fiance.
And there's a ruckus happening. And I wasn't allowed to get out the DJ booth for stuff unless it was a serious matter. So I didn't go because I didn't know what was going on until like afterwards. I'm like, okay, I can't leave my friends over here. What's going on? I go to check, and everything's died down by the time I got there, so I went back. But later on, my boss at the time called me up to the office and said, "Hey man, come here, you gotta see this." I was like, "What?" He said, "You remember when we kind of think Russell's a bit of a bitch?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "We was wrong." So well, he said, "Come look at this." So imagine like a foyer of but you walk in, there's a little room, right? And then you walk into the club, right? Everybody's been to a club like that. That's how they usually are. Well, he's telling these dudes to leave, and there's like 5-6 dudes surrounding him. And he was like, "Hey, y'all got to get out." And they were like, "What was they saying?"
What? That wasn't it.
What was they saying to you? What brought
No,
this
like, so if you're talking about the end of the fight, like towards the end, basically I was just there at the door making sure everybody left.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one dude, like I look away for a second, and then one dude comes back in and bang, hits me right on the cheekbone.
Mm-hmm.
I fell for a second. I was like, oh my gosh, I just got punched in the face.
Oh no, there was one point where dude pushes you, and you got all these other dudes, and you just like, you know what, I'm going for it. Boom! Like you attack these dudes as if you like a honey badger on a lion nest or something. Like, dude,
I don't remember.
It was insane. You was fighting all these dudes before everybody came in. Like,
I don't remember.
And
it's
what
been
happened?
A while.
You got punched in the nuts or something? Or you punched somebody in the nuts?
Oh yeah, I was in the ears.
Yeah, he's like somebody got him on the ground. He's like, I ain't going down like that. Boom! Starts punching this dude.
Look, I saw dick and balls.
Yeah.
I said, and I could see him going like wincing.
Yeah. Oh man. And then there was was it the same New Year's where it happened where it was like the big fight that was on them couches?
Yeah.
Because I remember we had friend Pure. He came in to jump in.
That was the one. That's the same thing because you know what happens? Because remember at the end of the camera when you guys were watching me, and then our boss goes, and there's Pure. He comes up later.
Yeah. It's like, but yeah, somebody had Pure down on the couch, like jumped on top of him. And it's like one of those bursts of adrenaline where you just do something because you know, like you got to do it. You know what I'm saying? I pull both of them. I pull this dude up. Bastard's heavy, you know. And I pull this dude off of him, and I pull him up and stand him up off of this couch. And why he was so heavy, here's Pure hanging on to the guy as I'm pulling him up. And I'm like, hey. After the whole thing, my back was killing me for like 2 days. So I pull this guy up.
Pulling 2 men.
And I thought, all right, like I got him up. I got to get him to let go. And my first thought, I had him by his shirt like that, and I just straight to his I'd never elbowed somebody before in my life. I know I didn't do it right. He felt it. And I don't know what that whole fight was over. There was girls on the stage, and they climbed the pole to get away from everything. It was like, they can't get us up here. They spill over onto the stage.
It was over. It was over a couch sitting.
Is that what it was?
So like these guys were sitting on the couch and they didn't pay. So I told them, I was like, hey, this is VIP section. You can't sit here unless you pay. I was very nice. And then the guy walks away and he called me a dickhead. He's like, this guy's being a dickhead. And I'm like, all right. So I'm just gonna walk away. And then they sit in the chair and his girl starts dancing on him. His girl starts dancing on him. Like his girl starts dancing on him.
And that was against the rules.
Now my boss was like, hey, it's a distraction. Go tell him to stop. So I said, hey, y'all can't do this. This is my boss telling me to tell you that. So then they switch, and the dude starts doing it. So then my boss, as soon as I start walking back towards my boss has his face going like this, going, oh my gosh. And then he's got to get up and go talk to them. And then that's where it began. He was just talking. They said, we ain't leaving. They went back in, and then they got up in our boss's face. And he was like, stay away. And then they put his hands up, and then he went, just shoved the dude.
And then the other people just jump in on this.
Yep.
People didn't even know what was going on. It's like,
beer bottles flying around. That's the perfect moment. Some guys just sitting there in the crowd going, oh, there's a fight's about to happen. Screw it.
It's like Boondocks. Somebody throws a chair. And one time, there was this dude. I'll never forget this. This is crazy. I don't know what I did. I said something pissed somebody off and he was drunk. But anyways, I was walking back to the DJ booth, right? And purely we talked about earlier. I was talking to him earlier. He goes, I said, what y'all kick old dude out for? I got up to the DJ booth. I seen y'all dragging him out. He said, oh, you just oblivious to what happened? I said, what? He goes, as you was walking off, but you didn't know what happened there? I said, no. You was walking away from us having that conversation, and he took a liquor bottle and he was about to bash you over the head with it. He was like really close. That's what happened. He goes, I grabbed the bottle from him. I was like, what? And that was like an hour ago. I'm like, no way. Show how dumb I am. I could have been dead.
I think my favorite moment with you was the cigarette. Do you remember the cigarette? This dude was trying to smoke something in there, and he was so calm about it at first. He was like, hey, like that's how he starts out. It's always, hey, look, I'm just gonna let you know, can't do that in here, like that perfectly.
This dude, that wasn't even it.
But you were like that at first.
No.
Yeah, you were.
It wasn't a cigarette.
What was it?
It was he'd done something, and we was kicking him out, and he said, after I finished my cigarette.
Ah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But then he took the dude's cigarette because he asked him to leave and he wouldn't leave, and I guess I'm gonna finish this, and he just took it and put it out, and then these guys, and then they got up, and I'm sitting there going, that is hilarious. Just took this dude's cigarette and just put it out.
And this girl, and I told it like he had it in his mouth smoking it, like looking at me, and I put it out on the thing. And in my mind, I'm like, I should have just like crushed it in my hand or something.
You should have looked badass.
I should have ate it.
Oh gosh, no.
Put it on my tongue.
Could have gotten like a disease or something.
I came back in. Some girl said, I ain't gonna lie, that was the hottest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, oh yeah, I know, right? But the thing about the foreigners, none of them can fight.
I don't like to listen. I think they can do whatever they want.
Man, the thing, and I ain't got nothing against Mexicans.
No.
Only people I got something against is Canadians.
Devin Larry.
He's fine. The
Justin Bieber.
Huh?
Justin Bieber.
He's a homeless
Ryan
person.
Reynolds.
I don't like Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is
Justice Beaver.
Awful, awful person. You got to look into the whole thing on Ryan Reynolds, man.
I like Ryan's movies.
Yeah, they're funny. Right?
Plays a great Deadpool.
Yeah, but there's like there's a whole thing going on with him, and like so you just got to look into it. I don't even know the whole story, but what was I saying?
Cigarette? Girl was hot for you? Had the hot spot?
Oh yeah. So a lot of times people would come in, like Mexican people would come in, and you tell them like, "Hey, you did this wrong, that wrong, or whatever. You gotta get out," and they just say, "No habla inglés."
No.
No
I didn't.
habla inglés.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I heard you speaking English 5 minutes ago too. No.
They're strong though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You remember that one time there was these there was this one dude and you and him got into
Yeah, we were on the
into a
floor.
scuffle.
Hey, dude's strong.
Yeah.
He's strong. I was on the ground holding him, like trying to get him up, and then all of a sudden, he's gone, and it's great grab by the hair. Get up here.
It was funny too because I walked up. I was like, "How do I gotta help my friend here? What am I gonna do? I ain't getting down there with these." And he grabbed him by his hair.
Nobody likes being grabbed by the hair.
And he's like, I'll leave. Yeah, you will leave. Please let me go. Nope. Letting you go. I'll let you go. You're going to try to hurt me.
Well, yeah.
The strip clubs are bad places to be. You shouldn't frequent the strip clubs. They steal your money, your time. You know? Yeah.
Well, I have nothing else to discuss. I'd say, like a Christmas gift, we wrap it up.
Or
what?
like a condom. Wrap it
Wrap
up.
before you tap it.
It is wrap before you tap it. Yeah. Safety.
Yes.
Safe sex is important, folks.
It is. Very important, Wes. Very.
Always.
Mm.
But yeah,
We're not
that's
sponsored.
it. We're not sponsored by
by
DraftKings
Trojan
or Trojan,
or any condom companies.
but if they would like to,
Yeah.
we
Are here.
would love to spread the message of safe sex.
Yeah.
Because that people need to do it.
Yep.
You know, the safety is key.
That's right.
Yep. And consent.
Yes. Consent is everything.
Is everything. Consent's very important.
Consent
and so is safety.
And safety.
And
mix them together and you won't have a baby.
Proper hydration.
Yeah, that too.
Proper hydration.
Imagine you're just dehydrated, you just fall.
You can't.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good. You can't function.
Dehydrated. Right. Okay. Look, you got the consent. You got the safety. Okay. Midway through, you ain't hydrated enough. You got a Charlie horse.
Get your electrolytes.
You ever had a Charlie horse while you was getting down?
Oh no.
Oh man.
No sir. Because you know why?
Because I'm hydrated.
Hydrated.
Yep. Hydrated, moisturized, and unbothered.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been this episode and our ramblings and rants of nonsense for this week's Teep Talk After Dark. We love you. And we'll see you in the next one. Be sure to go and like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. We post on there on some different topics and different things. You can follow us on there at Teep Talk. It's just at Teep Talk. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I think.
You know,
I got Twitter too, but you figured it out. Anyways.
Teep Talk.
Yeah.
TEEP.
Mm-hmm. With the it's all with the little orange symbol.
TALK.
Orange circle with the guy kicking.
Teep Talk.
Yeah. We'll see you next week. We love you and God bless. Don't be doing that.
Yeah, we had to do it on the After Dark videos.
Wait a minute. You know what we didn't do?
Yeah, we did, but it won't work. Remember?
Why not?
It won't work anymore. It had an update or something.
Yeah, sure. See y'all later, folks.